This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. It is described by Visit Sarasota as a hidden gem. Perhaps it would be better to describe it as a disappearing gem. Minnesota Key, with every major storm, there is a little less of it. Erosion has been a problem on the Key for decades. Now the damage is so severe, properties on the Charlotte County side have been condemned. Other homes literally have had their foundations exposed to the Gulf. Homeowners are pleading for beach renourishment, but with little response from state and local government. They are reported to be using sandbags to protect their homes. We'll have more coming up, but first, let's go to our top 7 stories at 7. Details are emerging tonight after a deadly shooting in Sarasota County early this morning. The shooting took place on Rita Street near Vamo Drive around 2:30 a.m. Sarasota County Sheriff's Office is not identifying the victim, but friends say the man, his name was James Sasser. Sasser worked as a bartender near Gulf Gate, where dozens could be found today. Mourning his loss, we are told Sasser had a young daughter who likely did not live at home with him. Those who knew him are struggling to make sense of it.
It took a while to set in and everything, and the fact that we're all kind of just in there mourning together, it's really beautiful to see how much support he has, but at the same time it's an absolute tragedy, the fact that he's been taken so suddenly for no reason.
The sheriff's office tells us all parties connected to the shooting are accounted for, implying they are not looking for any suspects at this time. A teenage girl in Bradenton is recovering tonight after being attacked at a local school bus stop. It happened around 6 a.m. near 20th Street East and 50th Avenue Drive East in Bradenton. Manatee County Sheriff's deputies say the 16-year-old girl was walking to her bus stop when an unknown man grabbed her. The man allegedly pushed the teen into the grass and tried to assault her. The girl says she fought for her life.
I was really scared. I was afraid I was going to die. He eventually had me in a headlock, and he tried to tell me to take my clothes off, and he tried to take my shirt off. But the way I was sitting on the ground, he couldn't get it off. And a car eventually pulled around the corner, and I guess he got scared, so he ran off and he grabbed my phone.
Manatee Sheriff deputies are still looking for the suspect. He is believed to be a Hispanic male around 25 years old, 5'7", and skinny. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. Manatee's school district is responding to the incident, saying it is taking steps to inform parents and protect students. The district alerted parents by text message. After these types of incidents, it plans to increase its presence in the area of the incident and check lighting near the school bus stops. Students are reminded to be vigilant and aware of their surroundings. Manatee County is looking for its long-term future by participating in the so-called Florida 2030 project. The Florida Chamber joined county leaders, businesses, and nonprofits for a town hall meeting in Lakewood Ranch today. Among the issues discussed, workforce development, affordable housing, and transportation. State officials say by 2030, 6 million more people will call Florida home, and it is projected that 2 million more will need jobs.
We're looking at a very broad spectrum of issues, talent, education, infrastructure, water, quality of life, everything that is going to impact a community's competitiveness for the long term.
I think Manatee County has a good outlook, and so we can stay ahead of the curve and prepare for the jobs of the future.
The Florida Chamber will visit each of the state's 67 counties within the next few months as part of the Florida 2030 project. Manatee School Board is set to vote tonight on whether the Rolette Academy Charter School will be able to open a middle school. The district is recommending the board approve the application. If approved, middle school students could begin enrolling at Rolette as early as next fall. The academy is planning to expand. There is discussion of renovating Orange Ridge Bullock Elementary School. Governor Rick Scott is in Washington, D.C. to ask congressional leaders for immediate funding to fight Zika, the mosquito-borne virus, which can also be transmitted sexually, is especially dangerous to pregnant women because it can cause severe birth defects. The governor is expected to meet with Florida Senator Marco Rubio and House Speaker Paul Ryan, among others. President Obama allocated $1.9 billion for the Zika fight in February, but Congress has been unable to agree on the funding plan.
We've got to focus on how do we take care of all of our developing babies, how do we take care of every pregnant woman in our state, and part of it is making sure the federal government does their job.
As of Monday, 771 Florida residents have been infected with Zika virus, including 64 non-travel related infections. Now to Venice, where a popular restaurant remains closed due to storm damage nearly 2 weeks after Hermine. The storm caused the Myakka River to overflow into Snook Haven's parking lot. Owners continue to make repairs. The county is working to add a kayak and canoe launch to the location. Meanwhile, the county is also moving forward with plans to transform Senator Bob Johnson's Landing into a parking only a few miles away.
Sarasota County does want to encourage ecotourism, and I think this is an excellent opportunity for the city of Northport as well as the city of Venice as part of that. The park is conveniently located between those two municipalities.
The project at Snook Haven is expected to be completed around the end of the month. Senator Bob Johnson Landing Park will begin construction early next year. Venice is moving ahead with plans to move one of its lift stations. Today, the Venice City Council gave approval for an Army Corps of Engineers proposal to move the sewer lift station at the South Jetties. The project calls for the city to replace the station with a new utility pipe. The project will allow a popular restaurant, Anita's Sandcastle concession station, to remain at its current location. Bob, no problems with rain today.
Yeah, pretty quiet, really, considering all this tropical moisture that's moving in. A little bit different. Most of the rain to the east of our area as a result of this low pressure area, which the Hurricane Center now is giving a 40% chance of developing into a tropical storm over the next couple of days. A 40% chance, that's up from a 10% just yesterday, so we'll have to watch it closely. Right now it's over land. Thankfully it's over land. Otherwise, it may be developing into a tropical storm already. You can see a lot of rain now near Daytona Beach. In fact, this area of low pressure appears to be right about there as it makes its way to the north. You can see all this rain right here starting to gather, and this is all pushing off to the north now. And we'll have to keep an eye on that. I think we'll have a good chance for overnight showers, and even a few thunderstorms are possible as this instability kind of feeds into that area of low pressure that you see right there. Already starting to get a little bit of light rain into South Sarasota County and near Myakka City. But boy, the storms have been pretty intense on the East Coast. In fact, these are all storm reports. One in general just offshore of Daytona Beach reporting a 63-mile-an-hour wind right there. And that is a result of that tropical low. Right now, 86 degrees. We have some clouds around, and dew point is at 73. Humidity at 65%. The pressure 29.99. It's actually rising somewhat right now. And the forecast through this evening looks pretty good. A few passing showers down in South Sarasota County, but we'll see a better chance for some of that rain to move in. Showers and a few thunderstorms are possible overnight as the tropical air continues to funnel into that area of low pressure now moving across Daytona Beach. So good news is that it's over land. The bad news is that it's going to continue to draw moisture our way, Alan, over the upcoming at least 36 hours.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, foundations are exposed and some homes are now in danger of being condemned on Manasota Key. We'll have a look at what residents are trying to do to turn the tide when we come back.
Download ABC7's free all-new news app at your app store today.
A message from the Pulaski Law Firm. For decades, many Americans working in the trades were exposed to environmental hazards without their knowledge. While the dangers of one such airborne threat, asbestos, have long been known, efforts were made to hide the risks from the public. The result? Thousands of cases of asbestos-induced mesothelioma. Those in the trades may have been harmed by hundreds of companies who produced asbestos-laden products. The U.S. Bankruptcy Court has established asbestos trusts with $30 billion in initial funding. You may be entitled to financial compensation without ever going to court. If you or someone you know has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, Get the best care available. Then call us.
Call 800-279-1837.
For nearly 2 decades, we've been fighting for those harmed by asbestos. Act now. Call for a free consultation and see how we can help. Mesothelioma. Don't fight it alone.
US Med has great news for anyone living with diabetes.
If you have Medicare, private insurance, or prescription drug coverage, US Med will ship a new glucose meter right to your home.
And shipping is free.
My new meter uses only a speck of blood, so it's less painful than my previous meter.
If you have Medicare, private insurance, or prescription drug coverage, you're covered with US Med. We're welcoming new patients, even if your current provider can't supply you anymore.
I don't even have to test on my fingers anymore. I can test on my hand or forearms, and it's more accurate than my old meter.
So call US Med today, and you'll have a choice of 2 great meters.
One that actually speaks your results, or a meter so small it fits on the bottle of strips.
Act now, and US Med will include a free prescription discount card. We'll also send you a free diabetes cookbook. This is your opportunity.
So call US Med today.
You'll be glad you did.
Welcome to the all-new Seymour Buick GMC on the island of Venice.
Seymour smiles.
Seymour quality selection of new and pre-owned vehicles.
Seymour for your trade.
Seymour savings.
It's the Buick 2016 model year sale down. Now get 20% below MSRP on select Encore models in stock. That's nearly $5,000 below MSRP on the 2016 Buick Encore.
Seymour now at Seymour Buick GMC on the island of Venice. Go to SeymourBuickGMC.com.
It's described as a hidden gem. It is also a disappearing gem, and with every storm, Manasota Key is washing away, threatening not only the beach, but homes. We hear all the time about beach nourishment projects, but why not here? Christopher Brantley is here to explain. Christopher.
Well, Alan, when many of those homeowners bought their homes, they had several hundred yards of beach, and many never thought something like this could ever happen. But it's happening now, and the process to fix it could take a while. The beautiful island of Manasota Key is on both sides surrounded by water. But it's the Gulf side that seems to be garnering the most attention, as over time and through storms, the once vast sandy beach has little left.
Our foundation is now exposed and the home is at risk.
Harry Arts bought his home in September of last year. He never thought this would happen.
It was in January when we had our first bad storm, and it took out a whole lot of sand. So that was our first experience with it.
Storms in January washed away so much sand he got approval to bring in more, which he did. But it did little to stop Tropical Storm Colin, which came through in June. In anticipation of Hurricane Hermine, Arts got approval to put out small sandbags to protect his home.
I guess we've spoken with 3 contractors and 2 engineers, and each of them has suggested it's really not worth doing. In fact, the cost to have it done is very high.
Those small sandbags cost $37 a bag, and almost all that he put out pre-Hermine were all washed away post-Hermine. Today, the underside of his home is exposed. The foundation cracked. Just down the road, Charles Miller was unable to put out any sandbags.
Our neighbors had experience, and the small sandbags really don't do a thing.
Those small sandbags have been approved by Sarasota County to be put out on the beach. But Miller wanted larger, heavier sandbags, which require approval from state agencies. He hoped they would have less of a chance of being washed away. But because he has an application into state agencies, during Hurricane Hermine, he wasn't allowed to put any sandbags on the beach, even the county-approved ones. And he blames Governor Rick Scott.
He declares the state of emergency, but with that state of emergencies, there's really no directive to the Florida Fish and Wildlife or the DEP to make common sense decisions in order to protect people's homes.
All of this is happening in Sarasota County, but just south in Charlotte County, they're seeing the same problem.
The long-term plan that the county is working on is to re-nourish the beach and bring more sand in.
But that's also complicated. Years ago, Charlotte County conducted a study that said the beach needed renourishment. Homeowners said no.
Since they had a beach, they did not want to become part of it, even though it was
in the study that this was a potential problem that could happen.
And now they do. Some major condo buildings are dangerously close to being condemned, and some already have been. Charlotte County has been aggressively working to find a solution.
Who's going to foot that bill? And obviously, you know, living here, they want us to foot the majority of it.
Back on the Sarasota side, Harry Arts wants to add a rock revetment to protect his home. But Sarasota County leaders haven't favored that idea in the past, and there's another problem.
$27,000 in permits and engineering fees and application fees per owner just to be told by the county yes or no, and they've not said yes since 2008.
And we want to tell you about one more homeowner we've introduced you to in the past. 91-year-old Betty Gothrop. Her home was damaged in storms earlier this year. Much of her deck had been washed away, and her home is not far behind. In anticipation of Hurricane Hermine with heavy winds and rain, she decided to pack up and leave. We're told she's remaining in Boston until a solution is decided on. Interestingly, her 90-year-old husband decided to stay behind.
I wonder what that conversation was like. Thanks a lot, Christopher. And when we come back, we'll have more with our roundtable.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better reader.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
At SWC Properties, we pride ourselves in providing to you the very best in customer satisfaction, and the secret's getting out. Maybe that's why so many people have chosen to list their homes with our friendly and qualified agents. After all, it only makes sense to list with a growing agency that markets in so many places. To list your home with SWC, give us a call at our Bradenton office and ask for Matthew Rands.
This is a special health alert for seniors suffering with joint pain. If you have Medicare insurance, you may qualify for high-quality support braces at little or no cost.
I'm thrilled with my knee braces.
Now, there is a simple and proven solution for seniors to get out of pain with state-of-the-art support braces.
I barely feel any pain at all.
Braces for your knees and back, as well as your shoulders and ankles, too.
I'm so happy with the quality of these braces.
Call now, and you could qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost.
I can play ball again, and it doesn't hurt.
And because of my Medicare coverage, it costs me next to nothing.
So call now.
And because I have this red, white, and blue Medicare card, my braces have cost me just about nothing.
It's true. You may get a knee, back, shoulder, and ankle brace at little or no cost.
They qualified me for 2 knee braces and a back brace.
If you have knee or back pain, give them a call. They can help.
1-800-476-8967. 1-800-476-8967.
Batteries Plus bulbs keep stacks of batteries for cars, cell phones, watches, plus light bulbs for lamps, can lights, and appliances right on hand. Did I mention we also repair smartphones? Batteries Plus bulbs. Trust the plus. Visit Batteries Plus bulbs today.
Joining us for more on the erosion impacting Mount Isa the Key is Dr. Ping Wang, a geosciences professor at the University of South Florida, Charles Miller, a homeowner on Mount Isa the Key, and ABC7 reporter Christopher Brantley. We also want to point out we tried to contact U.S. Congressman Tom Rooney, who represents the area, but he never responded. Dr. Wang, if I could start with you, and if you could explain to our viewers what is the science that is happening here?
Okay, so, well, in a very general term, a beach erodes when more sand is leaving the beach than coming into the beach. And so you have a sand deficit. So the science really, the big science question would be what's causing the sand to leave the beach than coming into the beach. So
is that a different answer in every community?
Yeah, it's a different answer at a different beach. So a particular beach, answer to a certain beach won't apply to a different location.
Because we've seen a lot of beach renourishment in our area here, and is it possible this could be an area where the kind of beach renourishment that we're seeing would not be effective there?
Well, I have done quite a bit of a beach nourishment study along, for example, Pinellas County, and I honestly believe in this general area, West Central Florida coast, the beach nourishment has worked quite well, and it's been, I believe, more successful along our coast because we have a smaller wave, a small lower tide. It tends to work quite well.
So this is something that could be done?
I believe so.
Charles, you must be awfully frustrated that it could be done, but it has not been done, where you see on this broadcast, you know, quite regularly, we're reporting about other areas which are getting renourishment.
You know, I'd like to say it's a real privilege, Alan, to be here tonight to talk about this issue. I'm just one person on Manasota Key who's been there since 1993, and it is frustrating. And we just want to have a plan to get the sand back on Manasota Key.
What would that plan be if you had, you know, if you could get your what you would want?
Well, an accelerated plan from Congressman Rooney to get an appropriation bill where they would pay at least 50% of the cost, the federal government, and then for the state to pay a large share and the county to pay some funds too.
What have you been told by state and county officials about that?
Well, right now, Charlotte County, I think, is all forward. They have a study going on and they want to participate. Sarasota County is in the process of determining whether they want to support a renourishment.
And Christopher, we only have a couple seconds left, but you've been trying to get answers from Sarasota County. What have you been told?
Well, we've been asking for a couple of interviews, and we did ask for somebody to come on to our roundtable as well from Sarasota County to discuss where they are on this whole issue. We've gotten a couple statements sent to us over the last several stories that we've done that all basically say the same thing, that they're looking into this, that they're working with residents, that if residents need help, they can call their 861-5000 line, which is the main line. But we haven't gotten anything very specific from the county.
Okay, why don't we hold on right there. We'll have more with our roundtable coming up, and when we come back, we'll have a check on our local weather.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to save a life? Find out by donating platelets at Suncoast Blood Bank.
I'm Haley Wilgus, ABC7. Platelets aid in the clotting process and are vital in the treatment of cancer and surgical patients, trauma victims, and critically ill newborns. It's tough to keep enough on the shelves because they only last 5 days. To donate, call this number or visit scbb.org and you can help save a life.
ABC7 congratulates Suncoast Blood Bank on 65 years of serving our community. If you want 24/7 access to ABC7's breaking news stories, weather forecasts, traffic alerts, health reports, dining segments, local events, Suncoast View, and more ABC7 specialty programming, now there's good news. Introducing the free ABC7 channel on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Your 24/7 access to ABC7. Just search ABC7 on your streaming device and download your free ABC7 app now.
Attention blood clot filter patients. Surgically implanted blood clot filters are potentially life-threatening. Some filters are prone to breaking, resulting in pieces of the filter moving through the body and causing internal bleeding. If you had surgery to implant a blood clot filter, you may be entitled to a cash award, even if you haven't suffered side effects yet. Call the Gold Shield Group now, 888-747-5291, to see if you qualify for a cash award, 888-747-5291.
It's Lincoln's summer sales event here at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKZ for only $299 per month, or a 2016 Lincoln MKX, Lincoln's premium sports utility vehicle, for $339 per month. We also have a great selection of certified pre-owned vehicles. Drive with the confidence of a 6-year, 100,000-mile comprehensive warranty and complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, family owned and operated, and winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award. We are located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
Our roundtable continues in just a moment, but right now let's get a check on our Suncoast weather from ABC7 Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, thanks. I'll tell you what, Alan, we are looking at yesterday's picture of a lot of storms around, and there were some delays at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport. This one from Beverly sent in, and I'll tell you what, nothing like that today, but it could be different later on tonight as some moisture is moving our way with some storms in the Gulf of Mexico. Van Wezel webcam showed a pretty decent day. There's been a few brief showers, but that's been about it across parts of the Suncoast. Most areas staying dry today, which we had a 60% chance for showers and storms, so it really did not live up to that at all as a result of the area of low pressure that we were watching developing a little bit further to the east now and a little bit higher in the north. As far as that goes, it's located right about there. It continues to move off to the north-northwest of the Hurricane Center, giving us a 40% chance of developing into our next tropical depression or tropical storm. And that was at 10% yesterday. So they've gone up, and that's a result of it kind of traversing over the water here at times. And winds have been as high as 60 miles an hour just offshore of Daytona Beach. And it looks like it's going to continue to move away. But however, it's bringing some heavy weather into Orlando. And we've had some strong gusts there into Cape Canaveral. All along the East Coast has been getting hammered by these storm reports. You can see all these wind reports, 40 to 50 mile an hour winds reported throughout the afternoon. There's the one at 63, a research vessel getting that 63 mile an hour wind just offshore of Daytona Beach earlier this afternoon. This is the rain I mentioned. Now, you know, we didn't get much throughout the day, but this evening, a different story as this continues to kind of fill in here. And you'll notice showers and storms continue to develop through Sanibel, moving through Charlotte Harbor and then into Charlotte County. And this one getting set to move into Inglewood here in the next 15-20 minutes. And then elsewhere, showers are scattered about near Northport. Not much going on near the coast, so if you have anything to do for the next hour or so from, say, Osprey northward through Manatee County, should be okay. But after that, things start to deteriorate. 86 right now. And the dew point is at 73. We have a south to southwest wind at 8. It's kind of feeding into that storm system I mentioned near Daytona. And that's going to be the case throughout Wednesday. So keep your umbrellas handy throughout the day on Wednesday. Even in the morning, there could be some showers and storms around. 89, the high was finally right at average. We've been so above it over the past couple of weeks now. No rainfall to report today. And for the month now, we're nearly 3/4 below average. 78 in Jacksonville, 86 in Sarasota. And there it is. You can see it spinning quite clearly. We're lucky that this thing isn't out over the Gulf Stream. It would be a tropical storm by now. It looks like it's inching closer to it in the last frame there. So we'll have to watch it closely. What it is going to do is draw this moisture right in our direction over the upcoming 36 hours. Beach and boating forecast tomorrow looks good. Seas running 2 feet or less with a light chop, although winds and seas will be higher near those individual cells I mentioned that'll be popping up in the Gulf of Mexico throughout the day on Wednesday. Water temperature really quite warm, 87 degrees, and that's what the beaches will be. High tide upcoming at 12:07 a.m. and sunset, we just had it, sunrise will be at 7:15. The extended forecast shapes up to be pretty wet for the next several days. Wednesday, a lot of clouds around, good chance for showers and storms. Some of that rain could be heavy, and we may see some street flooding. We'll have much more coming up a little bit later.
Attention, this is an important message for anyone who has taken Xarelto or Pradaxa. If you or a loved one took the blood thinner medication Xarelto or Pradaxa and was then hospitalized for internal bleeding, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to serious, even fatal internal bleeding. If you suffered a stroke, heart attack, or serious internal bleeding, or if a loved one died after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call us now. Our network of attorneys have years of experience fighting the big pharmaceutical companies and is ready to fight for you. Potential claims are being reviewed for users of Xarelto or Pradaxa who have suffered severe bleeding or hemorrhaging, stroke, or even death. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled. Call today for a free confidential consultation. Don't fight this alone.
Please call 800-928-6604. That is 800-928-6604.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on a pedal. You get a clean mop head that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
Whether you're a homeowner looking for a professional installation or a contractor looking for top quality products, Sarasota Glass and Mirror can meet your every need.
For 42 years, Sarasota Glass and Mirror has been the area's premier supplier and installer of quality glass products for your home or business. As an authorized PGT WinGuard dealer, we know how to protect your home with everything from the PGT WinGuard impact-resistant windows and doors to shower enclosures and decorative mirrors. The Sarasota Glass and Mirror team has the knowledge to tackle any project.
Welcome back. If you're joining us, we are discussing erosion on Manasota Key with our roundtable. Dr. Ping Wang, a geosciences professor at the University of South Florida, Charles Miller, a homeowner on Manasota Key, and ABC7 reporter Christopher Brantley. And joining us by phone is U.S. Congressman for Florida's 13th Congressional District, David Jolly. And Congressman, I appreciate you calling in because you've been involved with this very issue in terms of Pinellas County. And how is it handled there?
Well, that's right. Hey, great to be with you. You know, the way we handle beach erosion and beach renourishment or replenishment is actually a partnership between the federal government and what we call non-federal partners, in most cases counties or cities or municipalities, to cost share the replenishment of sand to replace what we lose during erosion and also during storms like Hermine.
Now, there's been a very specific calculation about what to do here in terms of what Pinellas County is doing, if you could explain that.
Sure. So Pinellas County is actually one of the very first federal beach renourishment programs, second only to North Carolina. It's going on nearly 50 years. And about every 5 years during the past 50 years, the federal government, together with Pinellas County, have partnered to replace much of the sand lost. And it used to be a politically easier issue. It is becoming more difficult in a fiscally austere environment to identify resources to replace lost sand. But at the end of the day, life and property are on the line of a fully developed coastline and also our local economies. From Pinellas County to Sarasota throughout the Tampa Bay area, our local economies that are based on visitors coming to see the beautiful beaches and homeowners that continue to invest in our region.
Now, there is a lot of beach renourishment that is going on down here in Sarasota, Manatee, and Charlotte County, but at least Sarasota is hedging in terms of what it's doing in terms of Manasota Key. Have you dealt with situations or seen situations where the federal partners may be willing to pony up the funds, but the local authorities or the state authorities are not?
You know, I have. What I also have seen, frankly, we dealt with an issue in Pinellas County where a local condominium association had reservations about granting certain access rights to the federal government, and as a result, the renourishment passed them by. It does require a cost share, but it also requires a partnership legally between the federal government and a non-federal partner. Fortunately, in Pinellas County, we have embraced beach renourishment because we are a fully developed coastline. And so even right now, we are dealing with communities that are in need of sand, even before Hermine. We're also dealing with communities in the south part of our county, down around Tierra Verde, where the sand has actually filled in some navigable channels. And, you know, sand moves. And I know you have guests tonight that can talk a little bit about that, but the fact is some communities need sand and some need to get rid of it. And this is an ongoing effort of the federal government's partnership with Pinellas County.
And Christopher, that has been the fact of what the congressman just said, at least in part of Manasota Key, that it was the homeowners who did not want the renourishing paid for by the government because they thought they would lose their beach access rights.
So what we found out is while we went down to Charlotte County and spoke to someone from Charlotte County who said, listen, we approached residents a few years back to say, your beach is going to need to be renourished. And at that period of time, the homeowners had said no. The large concern there is they didn't want to lose their access to their, what they would consider to be their private beach. They felt that if the federal government, if the state, if the county put in money to renourish their beach, that they would lose that as a private beach as their, under their homes.
And Dr. Wang, there's also been a debate, and Congressman Jolly referred to it in terms of look, money is tight these days, whether you're talking about local, state, or federal governments, and some of our viewers may be saying, why should there be any public funding for these projects? I mean, people who bought these homes had or should have known what they were buying, and that this problem is something that's been around for a very long time.
Well, along these, like I said earlier, along these coasts, the beach nourishment is really a solid solution. Many times it does work. I think, get back to your point, I believe the beach nourishment project first need to be done is what is called an erosion control line. I think some people has to give up easement. That line, after that line is established, then the next step would be to go find sand. I'm not very clear for this particular project where the sand could come from. And in Pinellas County area that I've done a lot of study, and it's fortunate that the Tampa Bay, mouth of Tampa Bay has a lot of sand, and many times that problem is easier to identify sand, where to get the sand from mouth of Tampa Bay that supplies a lot of the sand nourishment in Pinellas County. I'm not clear where the sand may come from for these particular nourishment. That may be a question that needs to be answered.
Charles, when you have talked to local authorities about this, has there been any pushback in terms of because we are living in austere times, and there could be people out there just saying, hey, listen, buyer beware?
So not in Pinellas County, and here's why. And listen, I consider myself a conservative when it comes to fiscal issues. We have communities, particularly throughout Florida and Pinellas County, where they have been fully developed over decades. And what is at risk of failing to protect from erosion is both life and safety, but also property. So I often say, listen, if there is undeveloped coastline somewhere and a developer wishes to come in and build, we should not provide them a federal subsidy, and we should make that clear. But in communities throughout Florida that for histories have been on the coastline, we do have a responsibility at the federal level and local level to protect life and property. And so the reality is the share of local, the cost share for local governments has continued to grow, but as long as life and property are on the line, we do have an obligation to protect it. New developments, I don't think we need a federal policy at all, no federal subsidy. But for existing ones, we need to keep working.
And Charles, so what would you say to local officials? Because every time you've asked about this, you kind of get a, well, we're looking into it.
Well, I visited with the staff of Sarasota County, and they have been instructed by the commissioners to basically do a study. They gave what I would call a pre-study as to make some recommendations as to what the commissioners should do. And I believe the commissioners have that study, and I believe on October the 19th at 2 p.m. in Punta Gorda, they're going to have a joint meeting with Charlotte County.
Well, Dr. Wang, let me ask you this, because if you looked at some of the video in Christopher's story, it seemed like some of these homes are now teetering on the brink of disaster, and studies take time. How much time would homes in that condition have?
Well, not much. I mean, the water is in one of the video, the water is already under that person's house, and there's very little beach in front of it, and it's almost at the mercy of a storm, right? There's very little wiggle room.
Right. And Congressman Jolly, if I could just finish with you, because knowing different projects that the U.S. Corps of Engineers has been involved with, and they do fantastic work, but their resources are quite limited.
That's it.
Is the Army Corps, does it have enough resources to handle not only Manasota Key, but many communities that have this very same problem?
They don't, and we are working on that. We have a good partner in the Jacksonville Corps, but they always have to have the funds to do it, and an administration, frankly, that supports it. And there's some disagreement right now within the administration on B3 nourishment. These projects have long lead times, from feasibility studies and environmental permitting, and then allocating the funds. And so, for instance, we're working in Pinellas to ask for extraordinary measures in the wake of Hermine to move up a fiscal year the beach renourishment project here. The debate always in an environment of limited resources is this. We know if we spend more now on heavy infrastructure from jetties and other protective barriers that are environmentally sound, we might be able to save long-term costs and the need to continue to move sand every 4 or 5 years. The resources simply aren't there for some of the extraordinary measures and protective barriers that might be required. And then residents have concerns about changing the coastline with protective barriers as well. We live in Florida, sand's always going to move. What we do with it is a great debate, both when it comes to fiscal policy as well as environmental policy.
And Christopher, you're dealing with folks on both sides of this issue.
Absolutely, and I want to point out the last 3 times that we have been out to Manasota Key to report this, both pre the storm, during the storm, and after the storm. I ran into Dr. Lynn, who's the coastal engineer for Sarasota County. Very nice fellow who I know that you've worked with a couple times, Charles. But I've seen him out there studying this, watching this